And there's another attack on here from the front of the group. It looks as though Efrakim has made his move. Efrakim is desperate to lift this pace. This is the first move of two riders from Team Type 1, and this is a moment now. Efrakim, a former stage winner in the Tour de France, has tried to attract the others to go with him. He wants more speed.
He wants more speed. He knows now that even on the run in towards the finish, if you just keep the pressure there, you keep the heart rate pounding in your ears, you know you can still survive, because behind the main field sometimes they make mistakes, sometimes they make an error, sometimes they run out of organization, and that's why this man has hit them as hard as he can now. He doesn't want anybody else sitting onto his tailwind. He wants to try and fly it alone.
So Efrakim wants them all to come and join him and play again if they can, but I'm not sure they've got any more speed in them now. They're hitting just about the limit of their ability. Remember, this has been a long road. This actual road itself is 62 miles long. That's 100 kilometers without any deviation whatsoever.
Well, that's Rubens Bertogliati now in the main field, and look at this organization from Liquigas Cannondale. They've really got the bit between the teeth. They want this win. So this is a great squad, but watch out behind us, starting to queue up behind them. You've got Team Garmin-Cervelo, you've got the red and black jerseys of BMC Racing. Today they're not actually 100% looking after Cadel Evans. Yes, they'll make sure that Cadel Evans, who's still high in the rankings in 7th place overall, is kept out of danger, but they may well try and pull a fast one and get George Hincapie a few time bonus seconds. 10 kilometers to go to the finish. That's 6 miles. Time bonus would be quite handy to George Hincapie, but he's still quite a long way back at 53 seconds. But that doesn't matter. You've got to keep chipping away every day in a race like this. That's Hincapie there. You see the line of riders. In fact, riding in front of Hincapie was #1 Cadel Evans. So it's really nice to see that having been steered around the Tour de France for the last 2 years by Hincapie, now Cadel Evans is returning the favour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders from Liquigas in the 7 first places of this main field this afternoon. You can see the blue and white jerseys there with the number 80s on the back. Well, those are United Healthcare. It's Rory Sutherland's team, the Australian, but they're looking after Robert Forster, the German sprinter.
In the pack, Freddie Rodriguez hangs on in there. He's the big hope. It would be a fairy tale return to big-time bike racing if Freddie Rodriguez were to win the race today. He doesn't know how he's going to react to the competition that's come in from Europe at this level, because Freddie's on his comeback trail after a couple of years of no racing whatsoever. I thought we were never going to see Fast Freddie in action again.
Well, he's still got the enthusiasm, and once you've got that fast twitch fibre, just like Freddie Rodriguez, well, then you've got a very good chance. Viviani will be sitting very close to the front end of the main field, and there he is wearing number 58. He's right at the back, so I don't think there's any question at all, Phil, who Liquigas Cannondale are working for.
None whatsoever, and the man right in front of him is the other big sprinter, Daniel Oss. He's the lead-out man for Viviani. Leipheimer in the yellow there, he'll just keep out of trouble. And let me remind you about the rules of international cycle racing. Once the riders get inside 3 kilometers to go, that's about 1.8 miles, they all get the same time at the finish if they are all together. So in other words, if you fall off or have a flat tire, you won't lose time. It's a safety rule, really, and so all Leipheimer has to do is get into that last 3 kilometers today and not worry about the rest of the day of racing. He's not going to try and win this stage. That's the sprinter's prerogative now.
Well, these guys are not going to try and win the stage either. Let's have a little chat, Frank and Andy. They're two brothers. They are the inseparable Siamese twins from the Tour de France, 2nd and 3rd place in the overall standings this year. They will not get involved. It looks as if the 3 riders in the middle are about to get pulled up. And this is that T-junction you were talking about just now. Looks as if everybody's around it nice and safely. Levi Leipheimer making sure that he keeps in contact with the front end of the peloton, because he knows that not too far behind him, only looking for 11 seconds, is Christian van der Velde, and looking for 17 seconds Van Garderen.
Now tomorrow they go straight across. They don't turn right on the return tomorrow. They're on Highway 40 now. They head to Breckenridge, straight out of town. But right now they've turned their back on Breckenridge as they race towards today's finish in Steamboat Springs. The field has made the turn. They know now there's no more turns here as they charge in towards town. The road gets even better and wider as they come into Steamboat. What a wonderful sight, Paul, as the peloton charge down here.
Look at the length of that main field. You might just notice Cadel Evans keeps coming right up to the front. Cadel Evans has turned their books around this afternoon at this race, the US Pro Cycling Challenge. He's not concerned about winning the Tour de France. That's been done. That's already in the history books. But what he's doing, he's looking after his own teammate, the American George Hincapie. It's paid payback time.
Well, you're right, and wouldn't it be nice to see George get a second stage win and a small time bonus? It'll move him right up towards the overall leaderboard. Life is not entirely safe for Levi Leipheimer, because remember, his lead overall is only 11 seconds over Van der Velde. If Van der Velde were to win the stage, he would get a 10-second time bonus. That would put him down to 1 second behind Levi Leipheimer, and it's not impossible. Christian Van der Velde is a very, very good sprinter as well. The peloton, though, you can tell when the pressure's on when you've got the kite situation. That's the long, thin ribbon at the back.
Yeah, well, you might have noticed that Garmin Cervelo in the black and white jerseys, they're all riding very closely knit together, because they realise, yeah, Christian Van der Velde, Phil, he has got a pedigree of racing on the track. He can produce a fine sprint, especially when the pressure is on like this. The main field is still, though, under the control of the men in lime green and white, and that, of course, is Liquigas. Well, a little bit of power information coming over the last 20 minutes, just inside of 200 watts. So if you're sitting in the main field, it's a nice, easy ride. But I'll tell you one thing: if you've got a pair of lime green shorts on, your power output is around about 350 at this time.
Because you drive to your limit now and you sit up and get out of the way, because slowly but surely Liquigas Canadell trying to finish up with one man left at the front when they cross the line. That'll be Viviani, who's down there. He's the last man in those lime green jerseys. But he's being pushed over a little bit now by Team BMC, who are trying to move George Hincapie in that lime green jersey. Don't be confused there. That is a classification leaders jersey of the points competition, but it's very much a BMC rider. It's Hincapie.
Well, watch out. There's a rider in a black and white jersey, and he's the Kiwi national champion, Hayden Ralston, and he is looking after TJ Van Garderen. He's got Van Garderen up at the front end of the main field. 23 years of age. He had the overall leaders jersey. He did not enjoy relinquishing it, and he may well battle it back on a flat stage, because he's looking for time bonus seconds.
He needs time bonuses, of course. He's third place, 17 seconds behind. A bonus today would be very, very invaluable to him with 2 days to race. So there's a lot of reasons to win today with those small time bonuses for the first 3 riders over the line. We've just gone past 5 kilometers or 3 miles to race.
Well, there you might just notice Freddie Rodriguez, 133 on his back. He doesn't have any of his teammates around him now. He has to ride on his own, individually. He's got to take the advantage from some of the other teams working together. Skill Shimano over there on the left-hand side there as well, getting themselves organised. They're preparing the sprint for Kenny Van Hummel.
The rider you saw peel off there, his job done, was none other than Ivan Basso. He's the early trendsetter at the front. He's now slipped to the back of the field for Liquigas Cannondale, as now they've found help at the front here and breaking in just a little bit now as Leopard Trek try to break up this front group.
Well, this is Jens Voigt. You cannot mistake the shape of Jens Voigt, the rolling part of his shoulders. It looks as if he's trying to break his machine in half, fighting with the machine, getting as much energy out as possible, but he's dishing out some pain once again.
4 kilometers to go. That was a very, very quick kilometer here by the riders as they race into town. They're going to continue to switch around on this road, but very soon it will straighten out into a mass charge for the line down a very wide road indeed. Jens Voigt is bringing them down into Steamboat Springs off the hills today. That's causing a little bit of confusion for Liquigas, who thought they had complete control of this race, and in fact Leopard Trek have gone in amongst them.
Well, I have to say, I'm not quite sure why they're charging down like this, because they don't have any of the really fast sprinters in the world. But for a guy like Jens Voigt, he knows that when you run into town like this, fast and furious, and you stretch out the long line of the main peloton, it's a lot safer race.
Yes, stay at the front, keep out of trouble, but you need a strong pair of legs and a big heart to ride on the front at this sort of speed and at this stage of the race. So we've got still BMC trying to get in there. George Hincapie's dropped back just a little bit. They still got chance as we go over the far side. This is now the straightening up as they go through yet another kilometre ticked off. That'll be 3k to go, I think.
Well, still battling on the front, big old Jens Voigt keeping it nice and high. In 3rd or 4th position in the red and black jersey, the winner of the Tour de France this year, Cadel Evans. He's quite happy. Again, he's up there to keep himself out of danger. Hey. Number 24 there for Team Leopard Trek is Anders Lund.
But look at this, Levi Leipheimer mixing it with the sprinters on the far right of the road. He's concerned because he's seen that TJ Van Garderen and Christian Van der Velde have moved up to the front, his 2 nearest rivals. He doesn't want to see them snatch reach the win bonuses, because if he does, he'll be that much closer to losing yellow tonight. He can't lose it on a sprint win. It's a 10-second victory. Van der Velde's 11 behind.
Well, then it's 6 for second and 4 for third place, but this race is only separated in the first 3 places by 17 seconds, and that's why it's so important to try and get a time bonus if you can. That's why on this occasion, strangely enough, we're seeing guys who are not normally sprinters mixing it up right at the front end of the pack, because they realise every day now is ticking down till we get to Denver. They've got to take every opportunity.
Well, they're setting the skilled Shimano riders who've come to the front right now to give it their best shot. They're thinking of Kenny Van Hummel here. Van Hummel is in a tremendous sprint form. He's had a few victories this year, and he said actually on his Twitter site there's only 2 stages that can win, and one is into Steamboat Springs, so he wants it.
He certainly does want it there. The third place rider of the lime green jerseys there, that is Elia Viviani on the front there. You can see Van Hummel is in second position, and that's not necessarily a good place to be, and I think he's too close to the front as they're starting to get swamped now on the right hand side there by the men in the blue and white jerseys. Those are the teammates of United Healthcare, of Robert Forster. This is a good acceleration and organisation.
Well, they're running not far outside the 1 kilometre to go now. United Healthcare has started the move on the left, but High Road have also gone to the right, and they've put almost their skilled Shimano back in the action here. The last race Kenny Van Hummel won, by the way, was a stage of the Tour of Turkey back in May. Now, it looks as though under the Maxis 1 kilometre to go, it is United Healthcare leading out.
They're thinking about the German riders, a great sprinter, and I wouldn't be surprised if people are pulling out of the way now because they're starting to realise this is getting a bit complicated. Dodging and diving. Martin Mortensen's right in there. He's the rider for Team Saxo Bank who's trying to get himself a place finish here this afternoon. Watch out for the organisation on the left, because Garmin Cervelo are trying to move Christian Van der Velde up, but again, slowly but surely, the big experience of this team, Liquigas Canadel, are bringing their man Viviani towards the fore.
At the moment, it is Viviani versus Robert Forster. They're the 2 sprinters who seem to be making the most of it now, as Steenson makes a run on the right here in the orange jersey. Looking across as Hincapie also puts a move in too. But this is the final lead out. Daniel Oss is leading out Viviani for the line. They're all scrapping for him. Now Viviani goes on the right of the road. Viviani's being challenged by Robert Forster, but Viviani's got a good pair of legs here as he races up to line. Elia Viviani takes it on the line, and that was well fought out, led out perfectly by Daniel Oss.
Well, that was incredible organisation by one of the top teams in the world. Excuse me, how happy is he with that one? Thanks to the team, thanks to everybody else, and that was a great sprint finish. We were expecting this young man to come out. Amazing that we're now starting to see a bit of a renaissance coming along here, because we're talking about new kids coming to the top of the sport, 22, 23, 24 years of age.
Win number 5 of the season for Elia Viviani, a pro for only 2 years. It brings his total up to 9 in those 2 years as a professional. Frank Schlechter having a chat with Lawrence Tendam, probably asking him who won, because where he was, he wouldn't know.
Unless he had a periscope.
Well, we're looking out across the hills here where the mountain bike trails are in numerous courses over there, as we are now in Steamboat Springs with the USA, a pro cycling challenge. And Elia Viviani, an Italian, has won the day with a perfect sprint.
Yeah, we'll have a look at this. He's got his teammate. He's using his teammate right up to the last moment, and then he just dives down to the left-hand side, creating a little bit of confusion. You've got Robert Forster in the blue there trying to find a way through, but all of a sudden the gaps are getting closed left and right. And Viviani, at this point, he knew no chance, mate. Nobody's coming up there to challenge me at all.
Van Hummel was in the mix. I think he might have got third there, because I think it was Morkov who was possibly second, but the photo will decide. No doubt, though, who won, and no doubt who led out whom, because they're both ecstatically delighted. Daniel Oss leading Viviani to the line with a perfect lead out.
Well, that's a great win. Yes, it's an Italian team, but I think he was pointing there, Phil, to the American sponsor there, and that, of course, Cannondale, the bicycle manufacturer.
Yeah, well, he's won in Italy, he's won in India, he won a stage in Mumbai this year, there's a small race there. He also won in Slovenia. He's getting around the world, is Elia Viviani, and now he's won here in the United States.
Well, there was Morkov got himself up there into second place for Team Saxo Bank. Kenny Van Hummel third, and Robert Forster fourth. And let's not forget, no change at all in the overall standings, Phil, because Levi Leipheimer will still be in yellow tonight.
Yes, he'll be rushed off to receive another Quiznos yellow jersey, but the stage win has been a battle of the sprinters, the only one we've had so far. And Foster would not be too happy with fourth, because his team did put him in the right place, but he got swept away just on the liner. And it was a very, very good ride by